Ladies and gentlemen, we have Emily and Luca here to talk about their book, The Castaways, to read. And over to you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming.
Well, we've come a bit of a way, but we're incredibly glad to be here. Our book is a bit, we don't quite know how to market it because it's a sci-fi mystery. So yeah, we're really glad this is perfect convention for us. So let me just get my notes up if you don't mind. I just said welcome, didn't I already? I've already messed up what my notes say. It says, so I'm Emily, and I'm Luca's mum, and I'm a geek, and I love sci-fi, as I'm guessing you all do. Sorry? Stop saying okay, thanks. Good tip. I'll probably stop in a minute when I've calmed down a little bit, maybe. So, to that end, I was going to see if I can have a show of hands to see who likes Star Trek. What about Wars? What about Doctor Who? Lord of the Rings? Yeah, all of the above. And all equally as well. Everyone always says Star Trek or Star Wars. I was like, no, there's no question. It's Star Trek. Lucas says it's Star Trek. Speak up louder now. Yeah, I love them all pretty okay. So the short version is that I'm Emily, and this is my son Luca, this is he, and we've written a book. I know that most panels are like discussions, but I talk too much, and Luca is quite often mute. So.
That's fine today. I might as well just take over. I'll probably do a much better job.
It's very annoying. Okay, well, mums can be annoying. That's kind of the job. So I've just said it again. I will try to continue and not talk too much, even though I am very good at talking too much. I did it again. I'll try, if you have any questions, you can put your hand up to elaborate.
Please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, if you want me to elaborate on something, or if I'm talking too much, maybe just give a bit of this, or and I'll move on. Luca is sometimes quiet, but he does love to perform.
I love ballet and some show tunes.
But we do have some unique quirks, because we're autistic, and I bet...
And my younger sister, who's an absolute madam, has ADHD, and she drives me up the wall.
She does. But it's, neurodivergency is such, it's always been there, but these days we know a lot more about it and people are more aware about it. So, we kind of want to get on the back of that, and how understanding autism and autistic people can create wonderful things like this book. So, yes, the story. So, it's 2020, parents everywhere.
I've written it before.
Okay, see, there was me saying all about the homeschooling and crisis schooling, and that's not relevant. But Luca's school assigned a writing prompt, which was a doorway, and you had...
It was the... Should I sit in silence?
Okay, that's fine. It was a writing prompt, as much as I know about it, which had a picture of a doorway, and it said, write a creative story using this prompt. And it was a picture of a doorway with some trees around it, I think, was it?
Yeah, it was like a
yeah. And he had some accommodations at school, and he wrote a wonderful short story, which we were all incredibly impressed by, and it was 99% his own work. 99.99999, yeah. Whereas the book was sort of more 80-20, I suppose, because I kind of guided him a bit and helped him with plot points. Yeah. And would you like me to read a little bit? Yes. Because the first part is, we changed it a little for the story. So in the story, what do we have to change in the first chapter? What do we have to change about Nick?
Me and my friends.
Yeah.
But we had to change the names because it's a book. The characters have to be a bit different, otherwise it would just be boring if everyone just like the same things, does the same things.
Yeah. What do we have to do about Nick?
He was based off my friend Josh. He was a really sweet, lovely guy, but in my book he's just a bit of a knucklehead.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably not impolite to say we had to make him a dick. That's what we did. He had to be a bit of a dick. Because you need some character growth, right? And you need someone to bounce off of people. So that's the only bit we really changed. But the descriptive writing, the creative writing is all Luca's words. So I'll read, it's only like 3 pages. In fact, it's only 3 pages, so probably I can do it in a couple of minutes. So, This is the Castaways of Terrene, and it's chapter 1, the beginning, obviously. The bright sun is at its pinnacle, and the trees are crowned with the last few golden leaves of autumn. Copper leaves fall like snowflakes. Each one has 's own unique pattern, leaving a crunchy litter on the ground between brambles and ferns. There are antique oaks and young pines this deep in the forest, but also silver birches dotted around, their white stripes like columns of an ancient temple. The cool air is fresh and crisp, as a family of squirrels are scurrying for their last meal before the great winter slumber. A strong oak is silent, but then a playful hand strokes the rough bark as someone brushes past them and continues, veranding further along the trail lazily. Suddenly he startles and looks up. Ahead of him, Nikolai sees 2 others, his neighbour and her weird maid, who led him here, walking ahead at double his pace. Quick as a flash, he changes direction and bounds through the woods to reunite with his travel companions. 2 humans walk side by side. One has long dark hair and a ponytail, with a chunky backpack, many pockets and a tool belt. Moving with purpose at a lively pace, looking ahead, his ponytail swishes with each step. Alongside Luca, very original name there, right? Nick's neighbour Josephine Stevens wears shorts with tights underneath, a denim shirt peeking from under her pink sweater that has a cute cat face on. Ankle-high canvas sneakers are getting a little damp in the undergrowth. As Nick gets closer, he sees that ridiculous bird. Oh, what is that? Why does he always have to have that stupid thing? Oh, it's like a baby's teddy on his shoulder, like a fat parrot. On Luca's left shoulder, resting happily on her perch, is a dark, colourful, copper mahogany and inky black hen. Yes, a chicken, with a silky pom-pom cap, her beady eyes enjoying the view. Ahead, Josie and Luca are having a discussion. Nick can hear beautiful bird song during the small breaks in their blathering. Seems to be they need to focus on it. The breaks seem to be when they need to focus on preventing brambles from tugging and ripping their clothes. This far off the unmapped path, the ferns grow tall and wild, so the 3 of them must concentrate on dodging hazards like nettles and thick, sticky mud. They march together towards a secret site. Luca is leading them who knows where. As Nikolai nears them, he can hear the words Luca is saying. Do you want to read this one? Yeah? Yeah. I'll be Joseph.
Nobody's ever seen this before. It looks old, really old.
Josie isn't excited.
And that's what I wanted to show you. The mum said that this is an alpha portal, another dimension.
That can't be true. Portals are real, idiot. Josie interrupts, disbelieving him, looking sideways as the mummer's boy defends his family honour.
Hey, the mum isn't a liar.
Josie shrugs one shoulder doubtfully and looks ahead again, while Luca mumbles to himself and flaps his fingers together in a repetitive motion. Do you want to show us the happy? Yeah. An old door made of faded wood in a worn cobblestone frame. This is the image that the school gave him. You can have these. Cat pass. Covered in ivy, stands upright and alone. It appears the wooden planks have grown from the forest floor. Nick rolls his eyes as he contemplates this amazing discovery. Oh, I can't do a Russian accent. Nick's Russian, by the way, just so you know. Nerd, there's nothing special, he's French now. Nothing special about this door. Josie, curious as always, turns the brass handle, expecting the shiny metal to be cool with the chilled autumn air. But it's warm. Upon contact, it sends a shiver down her spine. Turning the knob is hard, like the seal is more than just timber. With a clunk and a hiss, the door flies open. Her hand is freed as a violent wind pushes backwards. Time is standing still. The brilliant azure portal spins slowly. Josie stands her ground, feet rooted to the spot like magic. Her hair is hovering like a halo, and her clothes are flapping like loose sail. It's chaos. The boys are knocked backwards, the bird flaps and is caught in an updraft. Joyful like a soaring eagle, scrabbling to find their grip, Nick and Luca crouch together, holding forearms for balance. Then time unfreezes, and the wind halts. The chicken obeys gravity, falling fast with a squawk. Luca catches her with a dive before the powerful wind reverses. The swirling portal glows brighter to silhouette Josie's outline as it speeds up. Nick screams a drawn-out, "No, Josie!" But it's too late. The girl is pulled like a rag doll on a string and dragged through the doorway. Nick, playing the hero, accelerates nimbly and runs headlong to follow her through the portal. Luca, lying face down on the damp leaves, is bewildered and in his daze. He vaguely thinks,
What? Where
puzzle out what's occurred. His pet chicken Camp, flapping in a panic, is caught in the draft once more, but this time she's sucked inward and disappears. The lone person remaining is alarmed and screams in terror, "Come!" before scrambling sort of upright and running to the door. Once through, it slams behind him, the sound echoing in the trees like a far-off cannon, and the gateway is lifeless. The forest is still once more, the wind is silent, the sweet blue air is tranquil. The gale has blown loose leaves, revealing a treasure in the soft brown earth, little edible mushrooms peeking from below. High on a branch, a tiny blue bird with a lime-yellowed chest looks curiously but disinterested and goes back to ruffling her feathers for warmth. And that's it. So apart from Nick calling him a nerd and saying it's a stupid fat parrot, it pretty much is the homework that he submitted. But after we did that, you had all sorts of questions, didn't you?
Like, what's through the door? And what if it was just a sandbox for Minecraft and Astroneer?
Yeah, so what if it was like a game? You go through and then you're in a game and you're like, oh, I'm buggered. What do I do? I've got to find oxygen, food, shelter, those sorts of things. And it was, yeah, you had so many ideas and I was taking notes. And basically I was like, I don't know, what does happen? What is going to happen? What could happen? What does Josie feel? What does Luca feel? What does, at the time, Josh feel? We did a plan, didn't we, with a storyboard of how we could plan a book. So, you know, put some peril in there and some character development and how would they get home. Bit of backstory.
I decided on Astroneer because after writing that, I went out and played. I played like the game Astroneer. I played like.
Yeah, has anyone ever played Astroneer? Has anyone played Minecraft or knows what Minecraft is? Yeah. Astroneer is mine. Oh yes, sir.
Yeah. No, I was.
Oh, we're playing Minecraft. Yeah, it's a good game. I love Minecraft. It's Minecraft in space, and everything is neon, brightly coloured, and very beautiful. It's very calm. There's no creepers or bad guys in Astroneer like there is in Minecraft. So, you know, this is like this. That's what we did. It's heavily inspired. The story is our own, but there's the planet where they are is kind of that.
It's basically just that.
Yeah, or a pink version of that planet. Why is it pink, Luke? Why is everything pink? Yeah, pink. Best colour. So we did quite a bit of homeschooling lockdown, doing researching, geology, various things to kind of think. A lot of it didn't get into. They talked yesterday actually about writing styles, and I didn't know about that. I'm a complete noob, and I think probably we were bums on seats because we'd say, right, what should we do now? And Luca would speak and I would write. But we did do a lot of things about geology and how would it look and how would it be. Which
very
was quite
factual.
Yeah, you wanted it to be accurate, didn't you? And it's quite Martian. The Terrene is quite Martian. It's very dry, and then underneath there's kind of all these moist caves that are slimy and gross because you know you need something gross and peril-driven in there. We did a lot of brainstorming as well, didn't we? So we'd have what peril could we have, and then have bits coming off of it before we decided. And shall we talk a bit about how we wrote it? Yeah, so we had lots of notes and sections, and we'd do sections, and then I thought, well, let's just write a whole book. Let's do a whole thing. Let's keep going. So the past 2 or 3 years, we wrote in sort of bursts. We do 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks of it, almost writing every day, and then nothing for 4 months because life happens. Last year, Luca didn't get an SEN school place for secondary school to go up to year 7. I won't go into the dramas of SEND funding, but we had some more time at home, and we used it to finish and publish, which we published this year in June. So that was great. For the most part, when we were writing, we worked out a way to... So Luca has a lot of barriers and limitations. He's got a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, but we would work... Face forward. Well, I'm talking to you as well. And I said air again. I've lost my place now. The barriers, so for example, Luca has OCD. Handwriting is really difficult. If he makes a mistake, he gets very upset by that mistake and he cannot continue. Thinking and writing at the same time is very stressful, almost, I would say, impossible for you. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult. The best way we've got around that is dictation. So he would tell me what he's thinking. He has a good flow. He'd go, and I just go as we go. I would sometimes ask guiding questions, like he'd say, "Oh, they see pink rocks." I'd say, "No, not pink. Another word for pink." And you'd say, "Azure's blue, but cerise or something like that." And they would flow. His words would flow pretty freely, even though I'd say, "I need another word for this," or "How do we know this?" So we have a little demonstration for one of the bits. It's there, you've got it ready? Okay, he's got it ready. For how we wrote a particular bit, if you'd like to hear about that, maybe? I don't really know what I'm doing here, by the way, guys. I'm just kind of like
You're doing well.
So this is a bit of how we would do it. So I would be typing at the computer, and he'd just tell me, Nick is annoyed, he's going to call him names, he doesn't like Luca's long hair, he thinks he's a wimp, and we'd guide each other together. So,
Joseph's cross and the boy's bickering.
and I'd say another word for cross.
Fury.
And how do we know she's furious?
That's his. She slams her hands at not the stool before she has a gun. She stands up quickly and storms falls. She slams her hands like this. My hands stick. Her and cars. Her will too. I'll make you more calls.
Do you remember when you did it, you actually acted it out, and he actually went, "Oh," like that, and he knocked the chair back, and was like, and he said, "Oh, my hands are stinging." Her hands would sting too. So we're kind of, yeah, and I'd say, "Oh, great, but I need another word for quickly."
Swiftly.
Swiftly, okay. And what happened when the stool fell? It made a rattle. So now I'm asking him very open questions to sort of lead him. So I am helping him, but it's still his words. And I said, "Tell me again," and then he'll read it louder so everyone can hear.
Josie stands swiftly from her stool, which is backwards and hits the ground with a rattle. She slams the table with urine on her palms and stinging contact on the table matches. Her anger at the boys rages up her.
It ranges it further. So that's kind of how we did it, just kind of now. So, and that's it. And then we did most of it. I sort of did a few bits towards the end. There was a few bits that needed just like connecting. So I would sort of ghostwrite. He would tell me, "This is what I want to happen," and I'd kind of ghostwrite the little bits together. But just the connecting bits. Most of it is his words. And I also did the publishing and self-published editing and the pictures. I like pictures. So that's quite fun. That wasn't a chore. And I won't go, that's quite a slog. I'm sure many of you know that self-publishing is a bit of a minefield. And that's how we did it. And there's one more thing about the audio. We've also got an audiobook as well, because, why was that, Luca? It's another field of money making. No. For accessibility, lots of neurodivergent kids, like Luca with writing, will struggle with reading a big old book. Like, it's really intimidating, but having it in the background while you're doing something else is a great idea. So, yeah, that's just more information. I'm not going to do that. That's just saying about how lots of children struggle with writing. Lots of children, neurodivergent rather, struggle. Yes, Dave?
It sounds to me, in your process, that you're acting as the editor as you go along writing. I mean, normally a writer would write something, hand it to the editor, then they would go, have another word for swiftly or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost like you conflate, put those two processes together.
Yes, that's very accurate. Yeah, that's when I'd say, "Oh, I need more," and often in his excitement for telling me this story verbally, Will just said, "Oh, she's really cross," and I'll be like, no, that's not good enough. Come on, we need another word. We need that. So that's how we did it. Does anyone have any questions about this process? Yes, go ahead.
Actually, it's more a very happy comment. So I'm having to prepare my brain after a stroke, and this sort of stuff is very boring. But I just want to say thank you, because you're really inspiring me, because I've needed to learn how to do certain things with language.
Yes.
And you've really inspired me as to how I can get back into writing again.
Yeah.
And it's made me very, very excited.
And you can just remove those barriers. Oh, I'm so grateful. Congratulations. I'll get your number later, and I want to see what you're writing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I will be now.
Yes.
But there will be writing stuff, and also you're reminding me to keep things straightforward and to keep things fun. And I love the descriptions, because my brain can see the pictures, and I love that.
I'm very visual. I like that a lot. Yes, lovely lady there.
I also, I mean, I write, but most of the stuff that I doing, again, I lost my husband a few years ago, so I stopped writing for a bit, and it was fantasy, so it felt all felt a little bit silly. But the point I was trying to make is that actually, same here. It's kind of I'm clawing my way back to creating something of my own, and also I was just going to say your process actually would help, because my writing tends to be very academic, kind of steps back from the character, steps back from the action to explain, you know, paragraphs and paragraphs of contextual explanation, and having that dialogue between yourselves probably helps mitigate the impact of one person's sort of quirks, and helps them focus on the actual action, and so that's really it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I really do think it did keep us on track, because I was there saying, let's talk more about the leaves, I want to know about these mushrooms, where's that squirrel gone? And Luke was like, no, that's boring, we need to move on. Whereas he had quite a lot to say about the shower situation, didn't you? How do you feel about showers? He doesn't like them. And actually he bathes, I hope you don't mind me saying, this is very off-piece. He struggles a lot with the sensory experiences of physically bathing in the shower, because you're naked and warm, and then naked and wet, and then naked and cold. It doesn't make any sense. So there's actually a section in this where they have a sonic shower, very Star Trek. And the little house where the teenagers live is very TOS. What's wrong? The toilet. You want to talk about the toilet?
No, I just wanted
You need to go. Would you like to be excused? I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to. We were talking about the shower. Would you like to be excused?
to. I just need to go to the toilet.
Just a small break for Luca. Do you mind if I carry on?
I don't mind.
I can take some more questions. They talk quite a lot about the shower, and there's a sonic shower, and the teenagers, Luca, who hates bathing, loves this sonic shower. You just stand there and you get clean, it's magic. The other kids don't feel clean, they're not exfoliating, or they don't have smelly stuff or whatever he hates. So he teaches them his technique, which he did last year a lot at home, which is standing at the sink with a flannel and a bar of soap. So there's a whole load of quirks and odd things that he has that get into that. So different techniques for doing different things is quite good. I will talk a little bit actually about children in particular, and just people, just generally. So lots of kids don't have the skills, you know, writing, writing needs a lot of different things, like cognitive, emotional, and environmental abilities and skills. But kids in particular, or people who are neurodiverse, yes, sir? Down there on the right. Don't have those skills. So and they also need to understand grammar, plot hooks, pacing, all of those kind of really boring things drag down a lot of people and a lot of kids. You don't get stuck in those technical things. And actually, if you just tell a story, think about the days of old around the fire, just telling the story and letting it flow, and the people around you engaging with you, what they like you do a bit more of, what they don't like or they're bored of, you move on, works really well. So that's hopefully will help you a little bit as well. I suppose I could start on the next. So is there any questions about our writing process and how we did?
How long did it take you overall, and how many words is it?
24,000 words, I think. Might be 23,800, something like that. 23 and 25, how about that? Something like that. I think because I changed a few bits. There was quite a few bits. I had to take a lot out about the shower. He went on about the shower for about 5 A4 pages, and I was like, baby, we're not J.R. Tolkien, we can't pull this off. So we had to take quite a bit. And obviously it was important to him, but he's also very receptive and very emotionally intelligent, that when I say people don't want to hear that, he's like, okay, that's fine. But other things, like at one point he has a panic attack, he was really wanted that to be in there, and actually that's relevant because the Luca in the story is him. He does have OCD, he is autistic, he does have anxiety, he is a massive wimp, and the whole point of the story is actually that can be good too, you can still be the hero. And Nick is a bit of a Nick, tough, strong man, wants to be the hero. And what Nick tries to do, a couple of times, doesn't work. And guess who does work? He's trying to move something really heavy, and he's trying to move it, and he can't get it with his big, strong muscles. And Lucas says, no, you need leverage. In fact, he says, I don't know if you'll get this quote, half-barrel hinges, which is from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is you just need a little bit of leverage, pop it off, it's done. And then this big, strong muscle dude that does basketball is really shocked. He's like, how can this weed beat me at lifting this heavy thing? And there's a whole, they come to respect each other, and it's really a whole character growth thing. So that sort of leads gently into why we wrote the book, why we wanted to publish the book. It wasn't just about, it is about a project, definitely. I've never finished anything in my life. I've been told my whole life that I'm a bit useless and I'm no good. Thanks, charming. Well, I finished something, we finished this. And I think I'm doing all right with you, maybe. Maybe. And we really wanted to put out, why did you want to write this story, Luca?
Schoolwork, homework.
You had to do it. Okay.
And then just continued on because I was
Bit bored. That's a very teenager answer. We also wanted it to be a genuine autistic representation. Well, you might like this bit, look here. Because in TV shows and movies, there are autistic people. Everybody knows someone who's autistic, but they're generally very one-sided. A bit like LGBTQ characters, that is just them. Like, they don't have any kind of depth. There's nothing, you know. Rain Man is a savant, he's super smart. Sheldon Cooper is a dick. He's just horrible. The writers used his autism as an excuse for him to be blunt and rude, and that's literally it. There's no other depth there. So
it's just his only trait.
His only trait is to be very blunt and rude to people, and very self-centered.
It's like in video games. Most people have multiple traits, but all of those special have one trait. LGBT, autistic.
Yes. Yeah. Whereas the
Normal people are just very in-depth.
yeah. So we need more depth in our diverse characters. That's what we need. Yes, Dave.
So you're saying you're reacting against tokenism?
Yes, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
For whatever.
Yeah,
and they
ticking
only
boxes.
do-
Yeah, this is the main character's autistic, and as I said, there's a panic attack, and the shower bit is in there. But it's not about autism. It's just about 3 teenagers who are stuck on a pink planet. What the heck are we doing? How do we get back home? And it's about their development as people. Yeah. So yes, against tokenism. That's a great term. Yeah. It's also really important in the vein of inclusivity and making people more aware of autism and all other different things and neurodiversity, is that we don't pathologise it and say he's doing this because he's autistic. It's just he is autistic and he does this, rather than because kind of it's it's not a disorder. It's not a negative thing. It's a different way of thinking. It is disabling, sure. It is disabling.
You're right, it's a different way of thinking.
Yeah, and it is disabling. You know, we struggle to get out the door. What happens most mornings to get out the door?
I don't like socks. Right now, I don't have socks on.
Yeah. About 20 minutes of crying for socks. Yes, Queen.
I just wanted to say that I did, so I'm non-binary, I'm also the trans and non-binary lead of my LGBTQAI+ network. Added to that, I'm also disabled and neurodiverse. And when I heard you saying about having those different aspects of the characters, it's definitely what's needed. It's like, they do this, they do that, but by the way, they're also...
They happen to be trans, yeah.
Yes,
they happen to be
I think it's
pansexual.
delightful. I hope you don't mind.
No, that's lovely. That's great. And it's also that, especially with trans or non-binary people, that their whole thing, they actually did really well in Discovery with that, when they have Trig Naruto, I can't remember the non-binary characters, but they just said this is...
I can't
remember their name.
Played by Blue Barrier.
Yes, I knew Blue, but I can't remember the character's name. But they just
Adira.
Oh, there we go. And just so happens to be, oh, by the way, I'm telling you, I'm non-binary. It wasn't tied in. I mean, it was in there. It was quite a lot of screen time, but it wasn't made into the plot. It wasn't anything. It was very in-depth. Oh, just by the way, that's it.
Yeah, but isn't it also that as time goes on, we learn more about these things? And I'm an old, and when I was a kid, these things were not heard of.
Yeah, they weren't on show. They were still there. Yeah.
They were there because I think I'm a living example of that in some extent. But these things were not understood. People just thought, hang on, you're kind of weird.
I say that.
You're either an American Jew or you're just a naughty Jew.
Yeah, that's what we say, isn't it? So my Nana is 94 and she says, there was no autism in my day. And I say, well, actually, Albert Einstein was probably, he hated socks, he never brushed his hair, he got kicked out of school. You know, that's all classic autism traits on a diagnosis these days.
Yes.
Obviously, they can't do that in the 40s, but tick boxes, he would be probably diagnosed.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I say to Nana that Luca, who gets very upset by socks and gets very emotional, would probably be in a padded cell. My daughter, who is wild and has ADHD, would be kicked out of school and probably join a gang. And isn't it so much better that we can support them and help them to grow and understand themselves and these limitations they have?
Yeah, with me it's fabrics.
Yeah. Sorry?
With me it's fabrics. There is a certain type of fabrics I really can't stand. I don't know why. I just...
Yes, lovely lady over there.
Same for me with beans, it's the texture. But the
It's always the texture, isn't it? It's never the taste, just the texture.
Yeah. I was just going to say that sometimes that I got my diagnosis 20 years ago when I was kind of like 24, 25, and it's really, really changed so much, even since then. I mean, this is 2000.
With the stigma and people's opinions?
Not necessarily stigma, but just the approach by people, even people who understood autism, kind of, it was a top-down approach. It was very much sort of sorting you into pigeonholes and assuming. I mean, my problem was getting past the Sheldon Cooper stereotype. It wasn't like Sheldon Cooper in those days. It was a curious incident, but it was like you can't possibly be autism because you're a girl and you don't like science.
And we're making eye contact. So how?
I mean, I love science. I love science. I read a lot of science, but my really special interest was politics, and I really struggle because politics is such a social endeavour. You have to get anywhere, you have to conform until you can get to the point where you can actually change things, and that's really, really hard when you're like us. But now it's so much different. I work for the NHS, and I both raise awareness of neurodivergence and get support for it. And it's support. It's what can I do to uplift you and get you onto the same level playing field as your colleagues. And I know that people in my team have come out to me as autistic because I've been so open about it. I mean, I can't not be open because what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I don't mask. I'm not keen on the masking language in terms of that because it's a really hard thing to mask. And so even if you're low support needs like myself, you still got this inability to mask and inability to be anybody else but yourself. And that's really hard in certain circumstances because there are genuine needs sometimes to be a bit more hold your cards a bit close to your chest.
Well, there's sometimes, you can't, lots of people have vocal stims and you can't be shouting when you're in a church, for example. There are, in society, there are rules that we have to restrain ourselves, which is helpful. How do you feel when you have to mask, Luca?
I don't feel anything, it comes naturally.
Yeah, you don't really mask. Actually, Luca has probably due to your autism, he doesn't give a damn what anyone else thinks. Yeah. So that's why his favourite colour is pink and he has long hair, because he's like, why would I care for your opinion?
Exactly.
About masks, I could probably do masking right now.
You wouldn't. Well, I don't think you are. I don't think you do mask.
I'm being extremely social right now.
And do you feel comfortable?
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you feel maybe a little bit bored, maybe?
Not
you can be honest.
This is so exciting. It's different. I'm excited to share about this. This is what I like to know.
But that's because you feel comfortable? And when we were here yesterday, we had all these things in place. We had all these things that I'd planned, thinking, God, he's going to hate it, it's going to be awful, people are going to talk to him, it's going to be noisy. It wasn't noisy. Didn't even need your ear defenders, did you? We've had times when, quite often, you did play Nintendo a lot, yeah. That does help. And also, as he gets older, when he was a bit younger, when you're 4 or 5 and he won't put his shoes on, they say, well, just tell him to put his shoes on. He's 5 years old, he has to do as he's told. Whereas now, people understand a bit more, and I can say, no, he doesn't have to put his shoes on, actually. He can just go barefoot in the car and put his shoes on when we arrive, as long as he's got shoes on.
Because it's expected of me to put my shoes on, and I'm able to speak, and I'm much better at talking now that I'm not 5.
Yeah, and you're also as a person, he's very self-aware. You're able to tell us what the problem is. And he will say, I can't put my shoes on right now, can I wait? You know, lots of autistic people really struggle. Bring it with you, yeah, and because we have that open relationship where I can say, what should we do about this? You know, I'm not going to tell you off about it and force you to put shoes on.
Like I said, I haven't got my socks on, they're in my pocket.
Yes. And it's only one kind of sock. They're very silky, they're very expensive bamboo socks because no other sock will ever touch his foot. And even that's not good enough sometimes. I can recommend the bamboo socks if you like, they're very expensive, but yeah. Yeah, they're about £2.20 a pair, but to be honest, I'll pay £100 if it makes it more comfortable. I think, so that was the thing, we talked about inclusivity, I think that was it. That was it. So, yeah, we don't pathologise, it's not a disorder, nothing that needs to be cured, we just remove the barriers that society puts in the way. In short, autistic folks need space so they can grow and thrive. And this is what happens when they have space. Space.
Yeah.
And that's it. Would anyone like to go?
What's that? Did the lockdown and staying at home give you the space to develop this?
Not really, not lockdown.
Okay.
It was far too stressful.
Anything I prefer to school, and school is home.
Homeschool for Luca was very difficult because school is school and home is home. His teacher is his teacher
There's a difference.
and mum is mum.
There's a difference between learning at school and learning at home. At home, it's like I could just very easily bend the rules.
It was too flexible.
Like, just like a ruler made out of one of those steel rules.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be, but yeah, you like the rigidity, don't you? And it was far too flexible, and it had to be flexible because, as I said, my wild daughter was insane, and everybody was struggling in lockdown. I think we were all cooped up and really struggling without our village. But I definitely think it gave us an opportunity for me to explore the space of how to help him. So he was struggling at school. Do we have a diagnosis then? I'm not sure. And in fact, I said, they said, we're thinking of getting Lucas diagnosed for autism. And I'm like, he's not autistic, he's just like me. It's not, he's just like me. Yes. Oh yeah, shock horror. Everyone in our family, it's genetic, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, it's genetic. My mum and my brother are also autistic.
Also, autistic people tend to stay together in groups.
We do, and all of my friends.
But you're just like your friends, you're totally normal.
Totally normal,
But
like
I'm
my...
autistic, and I'm just like you. Oh, wait!
Wait a second, everybody's neurodiverse. Well, not everybody in the world, everyone in our immediate friend group. Yeah, you start seeing, it's like a gaydar, you can just seem like, And when my nana says, nobody was autistic in my day. My granddad ate a cheese sandwich at 1:10 almost every day of his life. If he missed it, he got very upset. And he spent hours and hours in the shed at the bottom of his garden with his train set. And I'm like, safe foods every day, bang on time, and trains. You can't get more autistic than that, can you? Safe foods and trains. We
can't get partridge.
We make a bit of a joke, which probably doesn't help stereotypes, that you don't have to like trains to be autistic, but that's it, we're done. Any questions?
Do you have any questions? Well, did say on here. Do you have any questions?
Do you like trains?
They're all right.
Yeah.
We're not told.
Are you planning a sequel or a different book?
Yes, actually, yes.
Is that yes to the noise they make or yes to the sequel?
Yeah, the noise they make.
Yes to both.
But yes to both. They make a beautiful noise, isn't it?
Oh, they're brilliant.
It's so satisfying.
Especially steam trains.
I'm only thinking of steam trains. And the smoke, the heat.
The last thing on here is any questions about being autistic or anything? I'm assuming most of you here are autistic.
Or some neurodivergent. I'm sure there's a lot of neurodivergent people. Yeah, we don't think we can really make broad statements like that, but I'm sure everybody here knows them. Yes, sir?
I think you can make broad statements like that. Science fiction conventions are very welcoming, and people who have neurodiversity or any other sort of issues tend to find themselves in a safe space, because we're very accepting. I mean, it's not, let's put this the right way. It's not that we want we want Vulcans and Klingons and aliens
Yes.
here. So somebody who's slightly different, well, that's a step in the right direction almost.
Yeah, and I also think that science fiction is very attractive to neurodiverse people because generally it's kind of ostracised from, they're sort of on the outskirts. It's a bit sort of standing out, being different, and you're like, the outer rim, yeah. Feel like we're standing out, and actually, then you find your collective. So yeah, actually we talk about Vulcans in this, don't we? Luca, what do you think about Vulcans? They're autistic. Do you want me to share the anecdote, or would you like to say it? You want to get it wrapped up? Okay, would you like me to say it quickly? So he says that Vulcans are autistic because everybody thinks they are very logic-based and have no feelings, but actually they have a lot of feelings. There's a lot going on there. They're just very stoic. You know, things like bonfire and all the kind of, and all the rituals and ceremonies they have. There's so much religion and culture there. So yeah, that was your view, wasn't it? So they must be autistic. That's fine. So yeah, who's your favourite Star Trek character? Catherine Janeway. Okay, I thought you were going to say the Doctor. Or we like what I said it yesterday. I said that we like Voyager, and someone was like, Voyager is.
Yeah, Voyager's great.
When I was young, Jean-Luc is my favourite captain, and when I was younger, definitely Next Gen was my vibe. But now, as an adult, I kind of like the episodic parts and then the overreaching story. I like the mix of both. So yeah, Voyager's really. Okay, so we're wrapping up. Yeah. And you like every other Starfleet captain is like prime directive. We must do it. Jane was like whatever.
I mean, we are like.
Get the job done.
Yeah, Tuvix who. Okay, so that's it. We're finished. Thank you for coming for our talk.